I have been exclusively using the same $20 controller for years now, and I'm starting to get tired of it. Up until now, I played so few games day to day that I just didn't see a use to spending more than the bare minimum on a controller. But now, lately, I've been playing a lot more. I have a gaming PC in my living room and everything, so it has me wanting to upgrade. Now I know what you're thinking, just go buy an Xbox controller or a PS5 controller and be done with it. Those are the industry standards for a reason. And that's true, but if I'm upgrading, we're going to upgrade. I don't just want to be industry standard. I want to get into the weeds. I want to try multiple options. In fact, it wasn't until I started looking into what controllers to buy that I quickly stumbled upon the true object of my curiosity today. Apparently, there's this new wave of controller tech that has hit the scene since I was last paying attention. Not better thumbsticks or battery life or anything like that. No, today we are looking at the world of paddles. The more and more I searched online for a nice controller, the more these things started popping up. Little paddles on the backs of controllers. I had no idea what they were even for, but all the high quality, premium controllers seem to include them. Clearly, there's some method to the madness, right? Or is this just a situation where gaming hardware companies ran out of things to improve and just slapped on these in a bad attempt to add features? But then I remembered I have a YouTube channel. I can just try a bunch of them and then write them off my taxes. I honestly couldn't tell if I was more excited or highly skeptical. Both, I suppose. Apparently, though the concept has been around for a while, this all started when Microsoft launched their first Xbox Elite controller back in 2015. They really popularized the idea, adding 4 customizable paddle buttons on the back. And it's that customizability that is really the entire point of these things. Maybe you want it to be a button combination, so you don't have to press 3 different buttons at once to use an ability in a fighting game. Or more importantly, maybe you just want the paddle to be another A button, so you don't have to take your hand off the right thumbstick to jump while aiming. But even if I know I want to try this fancy paddle business, which controllers should I test out? And after some digging, I ended up picking 3 different controllers for today's test, one at each price point. Representing the budget option, our first contestant is the 8BitDo Ultimate, weighing in at a current retail price of only $40. How cute! Representing the mid-range option, our second contestant will be the OG company that popularized it all, the Xbox Elite 2, weighing in at a current retail price of $135. That's quite the jump. And then lastly, representing the highest price point is the Razer Wolverine V3 Pro 8K at a whopping $200. Who will come out on top? Who will prove a disappointment? Only time and a whole lot of hands-on testing will tell, so I better get to it. I decided to be fair and start with the cheapest option first. Last thing I want to do is get spoiled by the premium option and judge the budget option too harshly. 8BitDo has been my main squeeze for so long now, so I was honestly just stoked to see how they fare at a price less insanely aggressive than the $20 controller I've been using until now. How much better is a $40 8BitDo? So I sat down and played games at work for an entire day to find out. Turns out, in a cruel twist of fate, I think I might actually like it a bit less. So to back it up, let's talk about the positives. This controller was my first hands-on exposure to this whole paddle business. In this case, the 8BitDo only has 2 paddles, which I was actually thankful for because it eased me into this whole thing. It's less overwhelming that way. The triggers on this controller are definitely better. There's a bit of extra tension to them that makes them more satisfying to pull. Also, it comes with a nice charging station. How premium is that? That is kind of the end of the positives though, unfortunately. Overall, I'm very confused about this controller. Its actual build quality is basically identical to the $20 version, which is well enough. But then there's some things that are somehow worse, like the bumpers. On the $20 version, the bumpers are full size and have a nice clicky feedback. But then you move on to the $40 controller, and there are these little notches that make the Switch Pro bumpers look nice by comparison. The D-pad is also worse. Where the cheaper version has a nice tactile feedback, the new D-pad is gummy and feels awful. Interestingly, by default, the paddles aren't bound to anything. You have to download the software to assign them, which might not be so bad, but then you actually go to download the software and realize, wait, there's 2 versions of them that are compatible. But even when you do find the correct version, Windows freaks out because their drivers aren't signed. Overall, I gotta say, I'm pretty disappointed with this first controller. I might even prefer my older $20 version. I could buy 2 of them for the price of 1. Either of these controllers are hardly premium though. They both cost less than a regular Xbox controller. Now, if you want to upgrade your business in the new year, check out Storyblocks, today's sponsor. Storyblocks makes upgrading your videos easier than ever with unlimited downloads of diverse and high quality media, all in one place. It's unlimited content and power at your fingertips, but with a steady and predictable cost. No hidden fees. Let's pretend I just told you a funny joke. Ha ha ha! Now, thanks to Storyblocks, you too know how to laugh. Plus, the streamlined workflow has saved me so much time already. On average, when you get Storyblocks, you save 3.5 hours a week. That's enough time to do other activities. Did you know you can access the entire Storyblocks library from within Premiere Pro and After Effects within the Storyblocks plugin for Adobe Creative Cloud? Wait, that's actually awesome. But now it's a sad part of the video, and I want you to feel sad and frustrated. Don't you resonate with the footage I chose? Storyblocks has a massive library created by real artists around the world. Plus, it's always getting updated with new commissioned content based on the latest trends. But now it's the zany part of the video, and we need lots of silly sound effects, footage, and music. Zoinks! That's right, Storyblocks isn't just video. There's also endless amounts of music, sound effects, images, and more. The world is your oyster. I'm gonna make the best videos now. And with Storyblocks' clear-cut licensing, you never need to worry about bad stuff like content claims. You'll have the highest level of legal coverage with 100% royalty-free, pre-licensed assets. To get started with unlimited stock media downloads at one set price, head to storyblocks.com/switchandclick or click in the description below. So now it's time to up our game and try out the first of the real big boys, the Xbox Elite Series 2, right out of the box. This thing feels like a giant leap up from the previous controller. And to be fair, it's a whole $100 more expensive, so it better be. Before now, I kind of thought the lighter a controller was, the better, like those ultra-light mice. But the sort of heft and build quality this packs has me pulling a 180. Now suddenly, the 8-bit dough feels like a cheap toy. Honestly, all part of the controller's build quality really blew me away. The thumbsticks have a tension to them I've never experienced before. They really spring back into place. It's wild. In fact, they have such a good tension that at first, one of them was sticking. But after like 30 minutes of using it, the issue went away. The same holds true for the D-pad, which scared me off at first. What sort of weird shape is this? Who designed this? Well, as it turns out, someone smart, because it feels amazing to use. And for the first time ever, I actually know when I'm inputting a diagonal input. The Xbox controller does also come with its own charging station. And to be fair, for this price, it better come with a charging station. Given the $40 controller came with one, I'd be livid otherwise. And the list goes on and on. The paddles are hot swappable. There's adjustments for how far the triggers go. There's 3 onboard profiles with Xbox consoles, an auxiliary jack, all the positives crammed into this thing. The one downside is the materials. The materials of the thumbsticks absolutely hold on to dead skin like crazy. It's disgusting. This is a controller after less than a week of use. What will this thing look like after a year? This controller also doesn't come with a dongle, which at first threw me for a huge loop. I paid over $100 and I don't get a dongle? But apparently, unlike most controllers that come with their pre-paired connector, the Xbox dongle is one that you can buy separately and it can connect loads of controllers at once. So you only need one dongle for 8 controllers. Putting a dongle in each box would be wasteful and increase the price. So I guess they get a pass on that one. I have also heard that these controllers are prone to stick drift. Now that might be a relic of the past, but I haven't had this long enough to say either way. Time will tell though. All of that is nice, and I definitely felt the extra money I spent on this thing, which resulted in real benefits. But the real star of the show for me was the paddles. I have to admit, at first, I was overwhelmed. 4 new buttons on the side of a controller I've never even considered before was a lot to take in. I kept worrying I was going to squeeze too hard and then hit one of them by accident. For this controller, by default, they're bound to the face buttons, which makes enough sense to me. Like I said, what if I could jump without taking my thumb away from the joystick? But where this really clicked for me was Dark Souls. I played Dark Souls once for like a couple hours a long time ago, but it's been so long I may as well have never played it ever. And as it turns out, this was exactly what I needed. Because here's the thing, if you've played those games, you know all about this gaming grip. It's not comfortable, it's not ideal, but it's what everyone has to do to run and move the camera at the same time. But guess what? With the paddle button, I can simply keep my thumb on the camera and hold the paddle B button instead. And since it's been so long since I played Dark Souls, I had basically forgotten which button run was in the first place. So it wasn't a matter of me relearning something 30 minutes in, and that left paddle was all I'd ever known to run. That difference made getting used to these way easier. And once I was there, it felt like second nature. This experience alone sold me on this whole paddle business. Mix that with the overall build quality and comfort, Xbox Elite has basically instantly become my favorite modern controller of all time. But that really begged the question, if piercing the $100 price point made such a big difference, how much better would this $200 Razer controller be? Just as a quick note, Razer actually sent this controller in a non-sponsored care package, so we did not pay for this one. But we aren't under contract with them, so I can say whatever I want, which is good, because after having tried this controller, it's sort of the opposite of the Xbox in every way. First, this thing is light. Where the Xbox Elite weighs in at 12 ounces flat, this controller is closer to 7. That definitely makes the Razer more portable, if nothing else. Just slap it in your pocket if it fits. Similarly, instead of the tight tension on the Xbox's thumbsticks, Razers feel ultra light and agile, like roller skating versus ice skating. That metaphor just kind of applies to the entire build of the controller. The D-pad is lighter and more ice skating-esque. The face buttons feature a tactile click that makes them feel more immediately responsive. And the triggers lack the same heft that Xboxes bring with them. Even the paddles are more sleek, having a curved design to their shape. If it wasn't clear, I personally really like the way the Xbox controller feels to use. So if you haven't put 2 and 2 together, which makes 4 by the way, the Razer controller actually feels like a downgrade. Some of that comes to my personal preference. The light sleekness of Razer feels a bit more like a cheap toy to me, but I know other people may like that. Some of it though just sort of feels like an objective downgrade. For one, the back paddles are not removable at all. Don't like them? Want them gone for a specific game or a person? Too bad. They're there to stay. Even with preference aside, the tactile feel of the triggers and the bumpers feel distinctly cheap compared to the Xbox. They actually remind me of the 8-bit dough in a way. It too has customizable trigger stops, but unlike the Xbox, this one is a binary choice. Yay or nay? And perhaps most incriminatingly of all, for this price, it better come with a charging station. Guess what? No charging station. It's wire or nothing, baby. Well, it also has a dongle, but other than that, wire or nothing, baby. I don't mean to make it sound like this controller is utter trash, because it's not. The actual underlying tech behind all these parts, by all accounts, seems very solid. There's no doubt that this is better than your average $60 controller you'd pick up at Best Buy, especially for professional gaming, TM. The Razer even has a few things none of its competitors today managed, like an extra set of assignable buttons next to the bumpers. That's pretty cool. Or a dongle. Take that, Xbox. But I think what it really comes down to is that the way the Razer is built feels like a cousin controller. You know the kind. The controller you keep in a drawer somewhere that you foist upon your cousin or your younger brother when they insist on playing with you. And that is not how I want to feel about a controller that costs twice as much as this already expensive Elite controller. To be fair though, from the looks of it, the usual MSRP on the Xbox Elite controller is in fact also $200. But every time I've checked in the last month, it's been on sale for $130 or less. Now, is that a product of Black Friday and Christmas sales? Maybe. But as of filming this, it's past New Year's and it's still going for $135. Honestly, even if it and the Razer did both cost the same, I would still pick the Xbox Elite any day. To close though, let's circle back to my original source of curiosity, the paddles. Having tried all 3 of these for a while now, I like the idea. It takes a bit of getting used to, but playing new games with them helps that out a lot. Much easier to learn new bindings for the first time on paddles and to relearn bindings for paddles. I do think there's a lot of considerations for them that can make or break the execution. How easy are they to rebind? Do they have multiple profiles I can hot swap between when changing games? That alone makes a big difference. Then there's the physicality of it all. The wrong shape of paddle and I might accidentally be clicking paddles I don't want to click. One accidental jump in Apex can lead to death. One misinput dodge roll in Elden Ring spells death. In short, I feel like paddles are something that would be pretty easy to do wrong, to be more of a burden than a benefit. But at least with the Xbox Elite controllers so far, they've proven to be a very nice bonus. I will admit, I have yet to fully settle into them though. I used this Xbox controller at home over Christmas break, and even after 2 weeks of that, the main thing I do with the paddles is fiddle with them during loading screens. Is that a feature? If nothing else, using this does feel like it may be the future of gaming, for controllers at least. Like sure, right now, I'm not fully used to the extra inputs this gives me, but did people think the same thing when the SNES added 2 extra face buttons, or when analog triggers hit the scene? Extra inputs are generally good, as long as they don't get in the way. It just requires game developers to adopt them as well. And hey, clearly Nintendo agrees, because their Pro controller now comes with paddles by default. So if they are the future, I am at least ahead of the curve now. That 8-bit dough controller is not the future though, that's for sure. Don't remind me of that thing ever again. I want my $40 back. And if you haven't noticed already, it is much easier to accidentally hit the Razer buttons than the Xbox ones, which has like a static friction where these just go boop, boop, boop. You can hold this without pressing a button. Not this one. All right, see ya. Bye.